Hi, you're listening to The Humans We Are with Carola, episode number 44. Hello, amazing humans. I hope you're doing amazing today, wherever you are and whenever you are listening. Welcome back if you're a returning listener of the show. I am so glad that you're here for a new episode of The Humans We Are. And if you're new to the show, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. My hope is that as you listen to this show, you will find a more loving and accepting way of relating to your body, to your future, to your past and your opinions of yourself. And that if there's anything that you want to change, that you will do that from a loving and compassionate energy and not from hate and fear and lack. And one of the ways that I aim to support you is, of course, through this podcast, sharing information here, and this is all for free. And if you feel like you would like more support, if you're craving more support, I offer that mainly through one-on-one coaching. And if you're curious about that, I suggest that you book a consult on my website, which is www.carolafortes.com/consult. And that's an hour conversation that even if we don't end up working together, you will walk away from that with a more clear understanding of what is going on with you, why, and what you need if you want to make any changes, or what you need to implement from there, right? So even if you feel like you're not necessarily ready yet to embark on a coaching relationship, that conversation alone can be very powerful and can be a tipping point for you. So it's for free. There's nothing for you to lose, and there's so much for you to gain. Okay. So today I want to talk about a situation that I am sure most of us have experienced. I know that I have, and my clients tell me all the time about all the mean things that they think and say about themselves, about that harsh criticism that they constantly hear in their own minds. Some of us identify this voice as our inner critic, and to some of us it feels like it's really us, like it feels like that's your voice. And take a moment now to check in with your own experience and sense, have you had that inner voice that spews harsh criticism and judgment, that puts you down and points out all that is quote unquote wrong with you? Have you had that experience? I'm sure you have. Does it feel loud and true? Does it feel like it's really you who is judging and criticizing your every move? Like, for example, how you handle yourself, how you parent your kids, what you eat and how much, how you do your job, what you said or didn't say during a difficult conversation, how you show up in your relationships. That voice inside your head points out everything that you're quote unquote doing wrong, and how you are failing, and how you are so behind on life, on your career. And sometimes it asks questions that are just disguised accusations, like, why can't you just do what's expected of you? Or why did you have to mess it all up? Or why can't you stop eating when you're full? Why aren't you further in your career by now? We all have that voice. And sometimes it makes you believe that she's just pointing out facts about you. You have been listening to her or to it for so long that some time ago it started to sound like your voice, like your own voice. You identified with her, with what we call the inner critic. If this rings true to you, it may be hard to challenge what the voice says. And so you just believe everything it says to be truth, to be the truth about you, even when it feels really, really bad. But she or it, I don't know how you experience that voice, so I'm just going to be going back and forth between it and she. This voice is not you. It's not the whole of you. That's what I want to say. It's only a part of you. There are other parts in there. Even if you haven't paid a lot of attention to them lately, they are still there. If you can honestly say something like, for example, I intellectually think that I am a good mom, or that I am a good enough mom. I know that I take care of my kids, that I do my best. I've kept them alive, well fed and clean. And I think I must be good enough, but I don't feel that. So many of my clients relate that kind of experience. Like they know something intellectually, they know that they are good at their job, but in their everyday life, they don't really feel that. So take a moment to check with yourself if that's something that you can relate to, like knowing something intellectually, knowing something positive or good about you, but then when it comes to what you really feel, it doesn't, quote unquote, feel true. So let's take a moment to review how thoughts and beliefs work so that we can make sense of that type of experience. A belief is a thought that you've practiced thinking. And as with anything else that we repeat over and over, it gets automated. A neural pathway is created to make it easier to repeat that behavior so that it consumes less energy. That's a great thing our human brains do for us, and it helps conserve energy when there's something that we repeat all the time. And it goes for actions from walking to brushing your teeth, driving, anything that you can do now on autopilot that you don't even have to think about it and your body just takes over and does it for you, is thanks to this cool feature of the brain. And it also goes for things that you think often, like things that you memorize, for example, and you don't even need to make an effort to recall and retrieve from your memory, like your address, your phone, your email, your birthday or the birthdays of your loved ones, your social security number, like all those things that are really very easy to think and remember. And also what you think about yourself. Things like, I am so dumb, I'm always late, I'm not good at sports, I'm not a good mom, I can't dance or sing, I'm too lazy. Because these thoughts are automated in your brain, it's easy and effortless to think them. That's what we then interpret as, quote unquote, it feels true. And when we try on a new intentional thought, like, I am a good worker, I am good enough, I am good at my job, I am all those things that we try to believe, but we don't think often enough, it feels less easy. There's a little more effort involved, a little more resistance, and we interpret that as, quote unquote, it doesn't feel as true as the other one, as the opposite, as the quote unquote negative thought. So I want you to know that if something you want to believe about yourself feels more effortful, more resistant, feels quote unquote less true, it only means that you haven't practiced it enough or as much as what already feels more true, and that there isn't a well-established neural pathway to automate it yet. There's not a deep rut in your brain that has been formed yet to support that new thought. It is only an indication of how often or how much you have practiced thinking that thought, okay? It is not an indication of what is your truest truth about yourself, okay? If you have practiced the thought, I am a bad mom, more than the thought, I am a great mom, it's natural that the first one is going to be easier to recall. There's going to be less effort involved in holding that one as true, and that's what we interpret as it feels true. Something feeling more true doesn't have anything to do with being more true. It only has to do with how much effort it involves to think or recall it, to hold it in your brain. And that difference in ease can be due to the amount of time that you have practiced it. Another feature of the human brain is that it's constantly making predictions about the world based on what we know or believe. And these predictions function as filters that shape what we perceive. For example, if you know that airplanes exist and you believe that it's possible that one might fly over your area, when you see an object in the sky, you will predict it's an airplane. And if it's low enough, you may be able to confirm that prediction. So that closes that feedback loop and reinforces what you already believe. So if you have a belief, I am a bad negotiator, or I can't cook, or I am not a good enough mom, your brain will tend to see a lot more evidence that supports your predictions, that will confirm those already existing beliefs, and it will tune out or not pay any attention to any evidence that might be present if it contradicts those deep-seated beliefs. Sometimes clients will try to defend their current quote-unquote negative beliefs about themselves, citing all the evidence that they have, that they see, that supports that existing belief, that existing self-concept. And we've all been there. We all tend to argue for our own limitations because as humans, it feels safer to be right than to be wrong, even if being right creates a big amount of pain, especially when we believe something about ourselves that we don't really like. The brain will still prefer to be right than to be wrong, even if it feels bad. It's the other way around. We only see the evidence because it's what the inner critic already believes. What I really want you to remember is that no matter how true something feels to you, if you don't like it, if you don't need it anymore, if you want to change it, you can reprogram it. You can update all your beliefs with awareness, with practice, compassion, and persistence. You just need to want to believe something new so that you can stay with it and be patient for how long it takes, however long it takes, right? Now, sometimes people will try to say, like, obviously, I want to believe something new, something more positive about myself. And at surface level, it's easy to say that. Like, of course, I want to believe I'm a good mom, or I am a good worker, or a good wife, friend, daughter, partner, etc. But remember that all your inner parts are trying to protect and take care of you as best they can. And that your brain doesn't do anything just because. It doesn't do anything without a paycheck. That's how we say it. So first, it's important to acknowledge what are the benefits of believing the old thought and not changing it. What are the benefits? What is the payoff of believing that you are a bad mom? It is tempting to say there are no benefits, there's no upside, it only hurts me. And that's not true. Because there's a reason that you have been thinking that and you have been believing that. And saying that there's no benefit implies that your brain, that your parts are silly or stupid because they've been insisting that on the existing quote unquote negative belief. So don't give in to that temptation of saying that there's no benefit and stay with the question. Just stay with the discomfort of the question. What might you gain? What is the upside? What is being protected if you believe that you're doing a bad job? Or you can also ask directly, what is risky? What is dangerous? What feels unsafe about allowing myself to believe that I'm doing a great job? If you're curious, you'll start getting answers. Like, for example, if I believe I'm a great mom, I will stop trying to do the best I can. And I will let myself do less than good job, like a good work as a mom. If I believe that I am good at my job, I'll allow myself to rest. And that may put me at risk of losing my job. It may lead me to stop striving to always do better. If I believe that I am enough just as I am, I will be arrogant and conceited and nobody will like me. They'll abandon me and I'll end up alone. There you go. So the paycheck for believing you're bad or not good enough might be a sense of safety, that you are not going to miss any signs, that you are not parenting the right way or doing your job the right way. If you believe that you're not very good at your job, you'll stay always vigilant, and that way you will avoid making mistakes, or that's what that part of you believes. That part of you believes that that's how it works. So the first step is that you need to acknowledge that this inner critic is only one part of you, not the whole of you, and to connect with the other voices in you, the other parts. Try to find your inner wisdom or your higher self, your inner wise woman. There are different ways in which people tend to identify these other parts. And even if these parts are very quiet and it's hard to hear them, or if you hear them, it feels hard to believe them. Okay, so try to find those other parts. And one thing that's important to keep in mind so that your inner critic doesn't freak out is that we're never going to try to get rid of the inner critic. It is a very important voice and protector. It may have very good information or insight or opinions to share with you. But what we are trying to do is to not put her in the leadership position. We want you, your inner wisdom, your inner wise woman to be the leader. Imagine that you are working on a group project like we did back in school. I remember I had to do a lot of group projects. And imagine that one of your group members, one of your classmates, is very pessimistic and thinks the project is never going to work out, that the group doesn't have what it takes to succeed, that you will fail, that this is a horrible idea, or that all the ideas that the other members throw out are bad ideas and are silly. Like, would you choose that member to lead the group? Not likely, right? You wouldn't necessarily kick them out. They may have valid points that are valuable to consider and evaluate, but that member clearly is not the best fit to lead the group, right? Putting them in the leadership position is the same as identifying with your inner critic as you go through life. So you need to identify the inner critic as a part of you. Acknowledge and honor it or her. You can thank her for how much they have helped you and protected you, and connect with your inner wisdom, with your higher self, with your best self, and ask them for advice and guidance. Connect with their truth about you. Let it feel awkward at first. Don't mistake that awkwardness for a sign that what they are saying about you is not true. But make it your only job to redirect your attention to what your inner wisdom has to say. Even if the inner critic is loud, you can still tune into your inner wisdom. Like when you are in a very loud party or music concert, and you can still have a conversation if you concentrate with someone else. The more you practice, the easier it will get, as it will become more automated. You'll be able to regard that inner harsh voice as just a part of you way more easily. You will be able to even love and appreciate her and have compassion for her. Like, of course, she is trying to get you to back out of that new opportunity. She wants you to be safe, and it's okay. Like, you can be grateful that she's trying to protect you, and you can be anchored in the leadership of your inner wisdom. She wants what's best for you. All your parts wants what's best for you. And it is your job to make sure that the inner hierarchy is the most supportive one, the one that you need to get where you want to go, to create the results that you want, and to experience life in the way that you want and deserve to. Okay, this is already getting long, so I will leave it here. Please let me know if this resonated with you, if this was helpful. And if you would like to coach with me, I am currently looking for a few more clients to support one-on-one and to love and to help them. So one of my greatest skills is to be able to quickly identify subconscious patterns and beliefs that are blocking you from experiencing life the way you want to, from creating the results that you want, and really helping you to also dissolve these patterns and beliefs. If you're curious, just book a free consult at carolafuertes.com/consult, and we'll take it from there. And if you're not ready to coach yet, but you want to support the show, rating and reviews are the best way. A shout out to OBGYN Life, who left a review titled "Beautiful Lessons for a Beautiful Life" that says, "I love Carola's way of helping me learn that there is always a different way to think, which can be beautiful. She has taught me to hold compassion for myself while doing it, and I am so grateful for that." Thank you, OBGYN Life. That's why what I'm here for. Thank you for your kind review. I appreciate it more than you know. If you have any comments, suggestions for topics to cover, or feedback of any kind that you'd like to get to me, you can email carola@carolafuertes.com, or you can also find me on Instagram and you can send me a DM there. I'm at Fuertes Carola over there. Okay, I will be back soon. In the meantime, set the intention to restore a more supportive leadership within yourself, okay? That's all for now, my friends. Bye-bye.